Imagine this: a dusty military base, the morning sun sharp against a chain-link gate, two guards standing stiff and alert. A woman in a crisp uniform walks up, confident, calm, and silent. But before she can take a step inside, one of the guards raises his hand and says, "Ma'am, you can't enter." They had no idea. She was about to become their next commanding officer. If you already feel chills running down your spine, hit that like button right now, and make sure to subscribe to her Mission Diaries for more real, emotional, and powerful stories of courage and leadership that will inspire your heart and fuel your fire. Now, let's dive in. The air was thick with dust that morning, the kind that clung to boots and eyelashes and made everything look the same shade of brown. The base gate stood tall, guarded by two young soldiers, fresh out of academy training, their posture sharp but eyes tired from the long watch. The road beyond was empty, except for one approaching figure, a woman in an olive-green uniform, a duffel bag slung over her shoulder, her boots marking steady, deliberate steps in the dirt. Her hair was neatly tied, her cap angled just right. To the guards, she looked like any other visitor, maybe a clerk, maybe a civilian officer. But her walk, calm yet commanding, carried something else. "Ma'am, please stop," one of them called, stepping forward. The woman paused, her gaze steady on the gates. "Identification, please. Civilians aren't allowed beyond this point without clearance." She raised an eyebrow but didn't speak. Instead, she reached into her pocket and handed over a folded paper. The younger guard took it, glanced at it briefly, and frowned. "This says, Colonel Arundhati Singh?" He looked up again, confused. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but only authorized personnel." Before he could finish, a jeep screeched to a halt behind them. The base adjutant, Major Rawat, jumped out, his face pale. "Stand down!" He barked at the guards, snatching the paper from their hands. He snapped a salute to the woman. "Ma'am! We weren't expecting you until next week." The guards froze. Their eyes widened as the realization hit them like a bullet. The woman they had just stopped wasn't a visitor. She was their new commanding officer. Colonel Arundhati Singh simply smiled, taking the salute with grace. "No worries, Major," she said, her voice calm but powerful. They were just doing their duty. "That's the kind of discipline I expect," the young guard stammered. "Ma'am, I didn't know." "You don't have to apologize for doing your job," she interrupted gently. "But next time, remember, leadership doesn't always look the way you expect." As she walked past the gates, the entire base seemed to hold its breath. For years, no woman had ever commanded this regiment. Whispers spread like wildfire. Some respected her instantly. Others doubted. But Arundhati didn't come here to prove herself to anyone. She came to lead. Later that night, in the officers' mess, some men whispered behind her back, "A woman commander? This is going to be interesting." One even chuckled, "Let's see how long she lasts." But Colonel Singh didn't waste her breath on them. She had seen worse: the battlefield in Kargil, the dusty barracks of Ladakh, the loneliness of command. She knew that respect wasn't demanded, it was earned. As she unpacked her bag in the dim light of her quarters, she glanced at an old photo, her father in uniform smiling. He had always told her, "The stars on your shoulder mean nothing if you don't have fire in your heart." She smiled faintly. "I'll make you proud, Papa," she whispered. That night, the guards who stopped her stood outside, still embarrassed. But Arundhati had already made up her mind. Those two would be trained under her direct supervision. They had discipline. They just needed vision. And from that day forward, the gates that once stopped her would be the very ones she'd protect, not as an outsider, but as the one who led from the front. Weeks passed. The base began to change. Colonel Arundhati Singh wasn't a commander who sat behind a desk. She was out there, in the field, in the mud, under the same scorching sun as her soldiers. She trained with them, ate with them, and listened to their fears and laughter. Slowly, the whispers turned to admiration. The same guards who once said, "Ma'am, you can't enter," now stood taller when she passed by. But not everyone was ready to accept her. A few senior officers resisted her decisions. They questioned her leadership in meetings, trying to undermine her authority. One day, after a heated argument about an upcoming operation, a senior officer muttered, "This isn't a classroom, Colonel. It's a battlefield." Arundhati's voice was quiet but firm. "Then I'll see you on the battlefield, Major." When the operation began, her strategy, one the others had doubted, saved an entire platoon from being ambushed in hostile terrain. Her team returned with 0 casualties. The same men who once questioned her saluted her with genuine pride. Later, those same guards who had stopped her at the gate were promoted under her command. During their pinning ceremony, she said softly, "Remember that day at the gate? You said I couldn't enter. Now I say to you, never stop anyone who walks in with courage." Tears filled their eyes. They had learned what true leadership meant. Not power, not gender, but character. Colonel Arundhati Singh became not just a name, but a legend, a living reminder that sometimes the ones we underestimate the most are the ones born to lead us. And when she finally walked through those same gates years later, her soldiers lined up, saluting with pride. The gates didn't stop her this time. They opened wide for the woman who changed everything. If Colonel Arundhati Singh's story inspired you, if her courage, calm, and command touched your heart, then don't leave without showing your support. Hit that like button, share this story with someone who needs a little motivation today, and subscribe to her Mission Diaries for more incredible true stories of women breaking barriers and leading with honor. Because her Mission Diaries isn't just a channel, it's a movement.